And now to the final thing, which is going to be this is Three Pines, starring Alfred Molina on Amazon Prime. Canadian murder mystery drama thingy. Holly, let me know which bit of that was wrong.
I think it's probably all broadly speaking correct.
Okay.
It's so the it begins with Alfred Molina as a quite senior police officer in Montreal who responds to a protest outside their offices about a missing First Nations young woman
Ah.
who's what was her name is her name is Blue. Blue Two Rivers, and she has been missing for some time, and the family say there's no way she's run away. She left her 18-month-old daughter, whom she adored, and this is completely out of character. And the police have brushed it off and said, no, no, clearly she's run away. And Alfred Molina's character starts investigating this, and it isn't well received because, well, it's dealt with. And so he is shipped off to investigate a murder in a little, well, reasonably small village called Three Pines, where, and I've checked the word, and they have a wealthy socialite has died suspiciously, and it's a woman who's a not terribly appealing character, and off he goes investigating it with one of his key deputies, who is also First Nations and a sort of local addition, who is a rather country bumpkin-esque. Um, and the you have on the one side this unfolding of this particular mystery, and then you have overarching the disappearance of Blue. And it's interesting in very many ways because you've got these relatively standard. This feels very like Midsummer, in that you really don't want to be living there because lots of people seem to have bad things happen. Very small place, and there's no way this many awful things should happen to this very small group of people. But that does make it quite interesting because you have this quite small, tight knit community who know all sorts of things that they are not sharing. So it's a you've got the sort of the external police who are coming in, who are becoming more closely involved with the community across the series, and also through all of this, both the disappearance of Blue herself and specifically looking at that, but also the wider issues around the police and First Nations, and the huge numbers of young women who disappear where it's never investigated. Everyone just sort
Mm.
of, she's run away. And common sense firmly dictates that that's unlikely to be the case. And so it weaves in these wider issues, including a local woman, who a First Nations woman, who is an artist and has this artist's space that she ends up letting them use as a part of as a sort of local base. So they interact with her and the really insightful art that she's producing, that's all to do with cultural differences and the position as a First Nations person in Canada and in Quebec specifically. So you get this, say it's the sort of the slightly classic, but I'm not sure it is, old fashioned 10 episode series where you've got individual pieces and a long
An overarching story.
line, which I have to say I think works very well. I mean, the first one is a wealthy socialite dying somewhat mysteriously, and I think I'm safe to say that she was somewhat mysteriously electrocuted in very odd circumstances. Um, so it's got all sorts of thing crimes that happen, murders, all sorts of things, much of which also ties back to local history too, and long-standing things. So it's not arbitrarily some complete random showed up from Toronto and just came and murdered someone here, because that wouldn't be a very interesting story. So it's quite thought-provoking in many ways. And I got to the end of it and thought, this is, it's good murder mysteries. I've very much enjoyed the detective-y bits of it. It's good viewing, and it's structured, and Alfred Molina is excellent. Unexpected, I have to say. I did not expect to see him as a Quebecois detective.
Yeah.
It was just never on my list of things I thought next in his career will be.
Well, the thing is, Alfred Molina is, I think he's actually quite chameleonic, because the first thing I ever saw him in was a film called I think it's called the Perez. No, it's not the Perez, but it's the Perez family or something like that. But it's the something family, and it is a Hispanic last name. And it's about this group of people who are trying to immigrate into America, and they come from I can't remember, because I saw this ages ago before I even understood geography, and they all pretend to be a family. So I think it's him, I think it's Marisa Tomei, and then because they figure that if they're a family, they have a better chance of actually coming through. They have a better chance of getting to the country. And so I thought Alfred Molina was Hispanic. And then next thing you know... What?
He sort of is, because he is half Spanish, half Italian, and born in the UK.
Yeah. That's the thing. But I heard like an interview with him, and I was like, that's a British accent. What the heck is going on with this dude? Where is this dude from? And it was only later on that I found out that he was in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom as, I believe, an Indian. And so Alfred Molina is one of these people who you're like, what is this guy? So
Spider-Man.
when
he was in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, he was in Spider-Man. He was in Spider-Man 2. Yeah,
whatever call him.
Yeah, he Dr. Octopus. So yeah, but how many stars would you give 3 Pines?
I was just going to say, and IMDb tells me also Boogie Nights.
Yeah, he was in Boogie Nights.
He was in Boogie Nights. Funny
he
enough.
has a very memorable scene in Boogie Nights where he's on coke.
Burt Reynolds in the back there was really interested in what you were saying. You can see, can't you? That he's really focusing. Yeah.
I should also have added, it has aspects of his personal life running through it as well, his interactions outside it, also members of his team's interactions. So his colleague, who is also First Nations, her experiences as a Native Canadian woman in interaction with people around her, and what it means with the different sort of circumstances. So I found it really interesting, gripping, and it made me think a lot. So I'll give it a 4, mostly because it made me think.
All right.
I feel slightly, I wouldn't say I feel wiser for it. I feel like I've considered more things before as a result of it.
All right, cool. Good stuff. Sorry, I'm really trying to figure out what this name of this film was. It was the Perez family. It was the Perez family. Made it like in the 1990s. Yeah, in the 90s. Yay, brain! Yay, early toasting 90s brain working. All right, cool. So that is all. That is it. And now all we have left is to figure out. Hang on, wait. Did you give You didn't give us a number of stars, did you?
Yes, I gave it 4. And I'm just going to add, just been glancing through IMDb, he was in one of the episodes of Raw, which we spoke about some time back. So
Raw. Oh yes. Oh yeah. He has a good. He's really good in everything. He had a really good scene in Promising Young Woman. He had a really good scene in Promising Young Woman. What was he in Raw? I don't remember him in Raw.
He was in there. I don't either, but he was there.
Okay. Maybe it was just a voice or something. All right, cool. So all that's left to say is, who do you think has won this week?